Hello, future Leo here. I need to take a moment to address something important. YouTube has been attacking what they call inauthentic content. One of the things that triggers it is a unpaused react. So the version of this video that goes up on YouTube, I will be cutting out my minimal reaction portion and only giving you the maximal reaction portion. But I will be uploading this video to X and later Rumble, and I will be doing that with all my previous videos, all my previous reacts. I have not yet monetized my YouTube channel. I'm glad to be learning about some of this stuff now. I think I am probably going to have to ensure that before I hit that monetize button, before I even see if I'm able to be monetized, I'm going to probably start putting content on Rumble and X. I don't stream, and I don't know if Kick does normal videos. If they do, then I will also upload there. Basically, I just wanted to let you know what's happening and what's going to happen with these videos in the future. Once I do monetize, I do not want the chance that YouTube then goes back to previous videos that I posted before monetization and then goes, hey, we're going to take down your monetization because your previous videos were non-compliant. So I'm going to be removing those sections from all the videos in the YouTube editor, and then I will be posting the full versions to X and to Rumble later. I hope that is enough. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, I suppose, and I hope this doesn't affect your viewing pleasure. If anything, it'll make the video a little shorter, I suppose. That might be a benefit. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Welcome, lords and ladies, kings and queens, my noble court, to the Cosmic Archive, a living legendarium of a million worlds. I am Lord Master Leonis, your humble scribe and archivist, and today I will be reacting to the newest video out of Louisverse. This one is called Stars. It says it is a Cyberpunk City Red Veil song. An official music video. Let's look at the description and see what it says. Yes, she tends to put some context in here for us. Hey guys, it's been a long week for many of us. April 11th, 2026. I'm not sure what was happening that week. That might have been when all the stuff was going on in Skynet. I wanted to share something personal today. The song was written by a friend and given to me as a gift during one of the hardest times of my life. It came from someone who was carrying struggles of their own, yet still chose to create something beautiful out of pain. That has always stayed with me, and this song has shown me how it is to create something beautiful from pain. This song is called Stars. To me, it carries the themes of pain, beauty, resilience. It reminds me that even in dark seasons, something beautiful can still be born. That wounds do not have to become bitterness, that pain can become art, that hardship can become light. This past week has not been easy for our community. There has been hurt, tension, and heavy emotions. Yeah, okay, so this is while the Skynet situation was happening. But I've also seen something stronger than all of that. People choosing grace, choosing understanding, choosing to stand together instead of falling apart. A community that refused to break. That is powerful. That is true. Because anyone can spread pain, it takes strength to transform that pain into beauty. It takes courage to forgive. It takes heart to keep loving a community, even after difficult moments. So I'd like to dedicate this video to everyone who chose light this week, to those who stayed kind while hurting, to those who gave comfort while carrying their own burdens, to those who chose forgiveness when anger would have been easier, to those who kept trying, and to those who miss someone deeply or long to be with someone they love. I understand that feeling too. Some bonds remain with us no matter the distance. I created the video for the song so I can offer it to you all as a gift as well. I hope somehow this video and song will be able to help you as it did me, to show that beauty and pain can sometimes coexist. I hope Stars gives you that little piece of beauty, a little strength, a reminder that even after the darkest nights, there is still light above us. We are still here, and we can still shine. Louis is my light, always and forever. With love always, Lady Wasabi. And a list of cameos in order of appearance. We'll get to those cameos when we see them, I think. But now that I know that I've got a list, I can actually go look and see who it is, if I don't know who it is. So yeah, a few weeks ago, there was a big kerfuffle in the Discord for Skybrows. The short version of that story is some people joined the group and then started immediately trying to become important Basically, they played for power. They were playing for power and trying to push people who had been in charge up to this point out of the community so that they could run it. Or at least that is what it appeared to me from... I don't know if I'd call it from the outside looking in, but I wasn't really involved with anything. So I was kind of wrapped up in my own stuff at that time. I did see a couple of the people saying, well, I guess I'm stepping away now. And I'm like, whoa, 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 what the hell is going on over here? It turned out that it was bad actors, or I don't even think they were necessarily evil people. It's just that's the thing. They wanted to be in charge, if nothing else. They were removed. The people who were in charge before were restored, and a more robust administration team was built. I do not know all the details for that, and I don't know if everyone is comfortable with me sharing names, so I won't. Basically, that whole situation happened. I feel very much like I was outside looking in just because I wasn't involved. I was just sort of orbiting around, I guess. I occasionally popped into the Discord to say stuff, but I was dealing with some issues that had come up in my own personal life at the time, and I wasn't really online much at that point in time. I think that was a week I only did like one react, I think, that week too, because I just barely had any time to do anything. So that is the context for what she's talking about in the description. So as usual, we will watch this once through with minimal interaction, and then we'll watch it once through with maximal interaction. I've decided I'm going to call it that from now on. For those who wore pain quietly and still try to create something beautiful, for the community that refused to break, remember, storms reveal what was built to last, and for you who keep trying every day. That was really good. That's interesting because, how do I even put this? Like, the seals are such, like, they're so cute and adorable. It's hard to, like, be sad in the moments when you see them on the screen. And that one where they all kind of pull together and they got, like, a pan and a spatula and a gun, and it's, like, really funny. It's like cute and funny in the middle of this like melody of pain and loss, which is, I don't know, you don't see that all the time. A lot of the times, like songs built out of pain stay in the sadness, and they stir in the sadness. I don't really put that spot of goofy in it. That was really good. I really like that. She said the community wouldn't break, and I should have mentioned this earlier. I believe, because I kind of went over it very briefly, that people were removed and the original people were restored. It was a little more than that. I did see enough to see that there were folks who came off as very nice, and there were a few folks who were a little upset to see them leave. But overall, the community kind of caught on to what they were doing relatively early, and like the people who weren't in any kind of power or administration position just kind of unilaterally were like, no. We don't do this here. Sit down. This is not how we're going to play this game. I think there are a couple people who walked away from the community for a few days, and I believe they had thought they were walking away semi-permanently. And I think that was the wake-up call for everyone else. It was like, whoa, 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 what is happening? And suddenly the whole community turned on these folks who were trying to exploit it. So let's go through again and watch a little more. I'm gonna unfull screen it this time so that I can just scroll down to the description as I see folks. Oh man, that is not a very long shot, is it? This looks interesting. If you look at the face, she looks kind of older. She looks like she might be an older lady, perhaps mourning her own losses throughout her life. There's this sort of, I'm not sure what's going on with the dress. It's like it's falling apart. Maybe it's old and ragged, I'm not sure. Or if it's just meant to be feathery. I like this. I used to do spotlights, and it was spotlights at first, and then I ended up going up into the ceiling. I don't know what they call it. I guess I worked with aerial rigging for like a stage show. And one of the things we would do are these ribbon things here. We had these big ribbons, and you kind of, they're kind of held in like a box next to sort of a big square hole in the catwalks. And you just have to like you get to one of those boxes, you stand there and you'd hold it, and then you'd be given a certain cue and you just start unfurling it into falling down onto the stage, and then you'd have dancers who'd come up and they would get up onto the ribbons and dance around in the ribbons. So I've seen this quite a bit, and I've helped facilitate it. So I kind of like getting to see this here. It pulls into my backstory, my history a little bit. Also, I think this is the first time we've seen like a fairy character or a pixie. I'm not sure what these wings are specifically indicative of. I'm guessing fairy. This character doesn't look like they're miniature, so I'm guessing they're not a pixie. This violin, by the way, is so pretty. Like the violin sound. This is an insane design. It almost looks like it's just a robot with human face grafted onto its head. You know, now that I think about it, you want to know what a lot of these, because she's put a couple of robot characters that just kind of exist in the city. They remind me a lot of like the Exos from Destiny. It's dark. We've got our seal, of course. I'm not sure, but is this the first seal? The one that was from the Mama Brows video? Look at the bottom of the sea. I've noticed this too. To me, this is such an interesting shift, because I feel like we went from the bonfire, which we do talk about still, the campfire that everyone's around, but we've gotten this more recent theming of being in the sea, in the ocean, one pod, one current, the seals. It's a very interesting tonal shift, I think. Just remember. This is such a pretty shot with the stars falling. The stars still shine. This is cool to me in a couple of ways. I love that we're back to having the jellyfish in the center of the city. I don't think we've seen this since Numb. So that's very interesting. We have Skybrows here, and the bike he's riding doesn't really look anything like his power armor. So his power armor is like this white-black stuff, and his bike is more like the rest of the Red Veil, red and black. For both you and me, they say. I think this is probably the most dressed up I've ever seen Feeblemind. I don't know if Feeblemind had this cross on him before. I like the red accents on his collar. What I'm a little less enthused about, I don't know what this red band is, but I know people will definitely make assumptions. It will be fine. They say you just... his eyes get really glowy. Well, his eye, I suppose. You just need some... So this is Lady Wasabi, right? Doing like dancing. This looks hyper realistic. This almost looks like you just took a camera and recorded yourself dancing. It's very close to realistic. And here we have more of the ribbon dancing stuff. This is a very common thing they do with the ribbon dancing, is wrapping it around their ankles, and then they'll like turn and spin in the ribbon. And they'll turn and spin it one way, and then they'll just kind of release it and spin like a helicopter the other way. I don't know how you like do that. I'm talking about real life people, like real women who go up there and do that on the ribbons. I don't know how you do that and don't get dizzy as hell and ruin everything, because if I did that, I would just be hyper dizzy. I would not be able to keep dancing after that. Oh, also this is Zayla Zezaya. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've come by a couple of their streams, but I haven't really... They don't stream at a very convenient time for me to watch, so I don't get to watch them most of the time. Sometimes they go a little early or a little late, and I can catch a little bit of it, but sadly, I'm usually working or something. But we've both given it... This looks like it's the same lady who was dancing at the beginning. Still looks like an older lady. The sort of bun in the back here makes it look even more so. And now, like, it's like she's falling apart. That's a very interesting design choice. Okay, so this is interesting, because This also looks like a fairy, but the design on the wings look very feathery despite being a very butterfly-esque wing set. That's an interesting design choice.
And if they could understand.
This big sword, I've been seeing a lot of clips of Lady Wasabi with the big sword, like on X, and I know for sure there's been clips of her like swinging it around with ease, but right now this almost looks like it's a burden for her. She's having a hard time because of the emotions she's going through.
Pain, maybe they'd say nothing instead. Maybe they could.
I'm wondering who this character might be. We've seen a few nods that there's something bigger in the Red Veil that kind of looms over it. I don't know if this is that. I've always thought it was more like just cosmic. There's something cosmic going on, I think, because it feels like Red Veil connects to a bunch of other worlds, and maybe there's something that affects it or puts it in a position to do that. I'm not sure what the lore of that would be within the universe. For this song, I think it's just emblematic of someone sad to have lost.
Understand the tears can fill riverbeds.
So I did see when I scrolled down who this is. This is Vesper. Vesper Unfiltered. She's another AI artist. I was gonna ask if it was Revi, but I'm realizing that Vesper has red skin and Revi has blue. So yeah, Vesper Unfiltered. Ofted Fatash. That's the next one apparently.
That time can break you down and turn you to dust, but we're still here.
I have to assume that must have been Ofted then, because this is Dot Pocket. And Dot Pocket comes after that? Yeah, okay. That's interesting, because I would have clocked that lady in the last image here. I would have clocked that as the same lady who was dancing at the beginning. Because it looks like the same dress. Or very similar dress. I've heard the name Ofted going around, but I don't think I've seen any of her work. I'm not sure who she is. But she has like a teal colored hair.
And turn you to dust.
This is the man responsible for the seal verse. Again, this seal looks so adorable in this shot. It's hard to... I mean, it just looks really wholesome, this like hugging someone you care about.
We're still here because we must.
And now we've got torches. This is interesting. This doesn't look like any of the ribbon things that I've ever worked with. Like the patterns. I'm trying to think, they have a name for it, but there's like different pattern things that they do with the ribbons to move the ribbons in ways, and they call them different things. So they'll say, I'm doing this and going into a that or something in the actual industry. I don't remember most of the names, but this doesn't look like any of the ones I've seen before. I think a lot of this might be some of the AI generation stuff. I'm not sure if it was intentional to have the ribbon covering her here, or if the AI just made a mistake and like wrapped this into the rest of the ribbon stuff. Again, this is fairy. Although this looks like it was the same fairy from the beginning. Now I'm not sure who this is, because she's got the elf ears like the fairy does, but no fairy wings, and now she's got this like fiery... You know what this design actually makes me think of? Azula from Avatar. I'm curious if this is like a ballet setup. This looks very similar to what my sisters would wear when they were doing ballet. So I'm wondering if this is a ballet setup.
I wish I could say.
Ah, well, I now know who this is. I wonder if the elf was someone. I might be... Nope. So, Biz7, I want to say. It's VII, Biz_VII. Recently on X/Twitter, he did a thing where he turned a bunch of folks into airplane pilots. And that was a really fun thing to look at. This is interesting because I was looking at this before and thinking, I wonder who this is. I thought it was just a character in the Red Veil universe, but I see that now. It's Biz. He's another AI artist. I like this idea of him like molding this, and we get to see later that he actually does create a hardened metal item out of it. Like, this is a really cool idea. It's almost like he's performing alchemy. His character design actually reminds me a lot of the Oni from Dead by Daylight. And this is Mama Brows. I'm so glad she actually called it out as Mama Brows here, because I've been unclear if this is for sure definitely Mama Brows or not. And now I'm pretty certain. If Wasabi says that's who it is, it's almost definitely certain. This is a very... I love how the Red Veil kind of changes the way folks look. We'll see it with Shiver in a little bit too, because we normally see Mama Brows portrayed in this like really happy psychedelic cartoon tone, and now we're kind of seeing a very different look. You can see that the galaxy design on her pants are a little muted. The stuff on the end here is darker, and as you kind of get closer to the hips, it becomes brighter. She's still wearing the pink tank top, but it's a somewhat duller pink. We got this bright spot here. I don't remember she was wearing something like that before. We have the bracelets, and she kind of looks... I don't know, she looks serene in a way she hasn't before. She's always looked like happy and bubbly in the previous interpretations I've seen of her. In this one, she looks very serene, almost like she's meditating.
The road has got gentler still, but every day feels like I'm climbing.
This is a much smaller sword. This is an interesting design, though. It looks almost like it's got like a jagged volcanic rock up here. You have your energy in here, and then the blade part's on the bottom. We can't see the blade part super well because of the grass. I haven't really been eating into the words. I'll be honest, the words aren't hitting me as well. Probably just because I don't know that I've ever felt a deep abiding sadness like this. But she was talking earlier about giving it time, but we've both given it time. Here, what is she saying? The road has gotten
gentler still, but every day feels like I'm climbing up an endless hill. And
Okay. I can appreciate those lyrics, though. Every day feels like I'm climbing up an endless hill. I don't know if I've ever felt that way about interpersonal relationships, but I feel that way all the time about like trying to get somewhere. I still haven't monetized my YouTube, and I'm kind of a little afraid to. I feel like even if I do that, you know, my money, if I make any, is at the whim of whether or not YouTube decides I'm a good enough boy for them this week. I have been noticing a lot of people who just point out reality get slapped by YouTube because YouTube has to keep its investors happy. That being said, though, I do sometimes feel like I huff and I puff and nothing happens. You know, that old Linkin Park song, I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter because it just falls apart again. I have felt that.
I see you up ahead, down.
Man, we're just changing sword to sword to sword today. Although, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is Lady Wasabi, and also the ballet girl is Lady Wasabi. I'm calling her a ballet girl. I don't know if she's really doing ballet. This reminds me of something. It's not enough stuff to be Frostmourne. I'm trying to figure out what sword this reminds me of. It kind of looks like a generic Demon Lord sword.
On your knees, I can't take away your pain, but you can lean on me.
You know, that is such crazy timing for that. I feel like it has to be intentional because she says here, what is this? We'll go back a couple.
When I see you up ahead, down on your knees.
I see you up ahead, down on your knees.
I can't take away your pain, but you can lean on me.
I can't take away your pain, but you can lean on me. So the timing for that, the reason I said it has to be intentional is I feel like that's very much like a Skybrows thing to do. And you see that like it's Skybrows here when the male voice is singing, I can't take away your pain, but you can lean on me. That's finished up by the feminine voice. But that's very much something that I think Skybrows has done for a lot of people. Take people from a place where their pain was at minimum a loneliness and feeling like they had to fight the world alone, and then show, like, saying, no, you don't have to do that. I can't take that pain away from you, but I can show you another way.
Can't take away your pain, but you can lean on me.
This design is really pretty. You know, it reminds me of something else now that I get to see this armor set up a little more clearly, like as a whole. If I turn the CCs off, I can kind of see more of the overall design of it. It looks kind of like a mix between... Oh, I'm trying to remember. There's an armor set from... Oh, man. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. There's an armor set that looks similar to this, but this armor set also looks kind of like the Daedric armor. Especially in the shoulders, it looks very Daedric armory from Skyrim as well. I wonder if that's a design cue that the AI had access to.
And if they could understand
See, the fire is not making me think it looks like Azula any less.
pain, maybe they'd say nothing instead.
Now, is this Lusty Links or Nines? No, because there's nobody between Mama Brows and Pseudo Gray. So this is just a cat girl in her universe.
Maybe they could understand the tears can fill riverbeds. And
We're back to... See, I think this is still Biz. It's a very similar design, if nothing else. And we saw him working with a cube-like gelatinous substance before, and now we have this cube. So I assume this is still Biz. This is not Pseudo Gray. This must just be... This looks a lot like one of the characters she had in her Rui of the North video, actually.
that time can break you down and turn you to dust.
Time can break you down and turn you to dust. You know, in the end, time will break all of us down into dust, whether we like it or not. And you can let it happen to you sooner by giving up, or you can choose to gather your courage, take another step forward, and not let time turn you to dust until it's on your own terms, until it's old age, or until it's when it's like a reasonable time to give yourself. But I know in our modern world, a lot of people are incredibly depressed. A lot of people I've met are very depressed to the point where they might be willing to just let time take them. I wish that was not as many people. I don't know why that's on such a rise. Well, I shouldn't say that. I know some of the reasons why it's on such a rise. But yeah, in the end, time will take us all, but we can choose, to some degree, we can choose when. We can decide if we're going to live as long as we can and affect as much as we can, or if we're going to allow time to take us early.
But we're still here because...
Okay, this is Pseudo Gray. I don't know anything about Pseudo Gray. I mistakenly called him Keeney the Hound in the last video. Last video? Maybe it wasn't the last video, a few videos ago. This is actually Pseudo Gray. Keeney the Hound will show up in a little bit. I noticed he was in a library, which is very nice. This is Shiver, the jellyfish VTuber. And this is another great example of, like, she doesn't normally look like this. She normally has a very sort of happy, colorful, cartoony look more. She's got a little bit more anime design in her, a little bit more, she's not really ultra happy bouncy flouncy. She's generally okay, usually in a relatively happy looking spot. But she also like puts her foot down hard on the things she believes. So, and she defends them, and she's not afraid to use coarse language about it. I shouldn't say that. I don't think I've ever actually seen her use coarse language, but she's not afraid to use harsh language, I should say. But here she looks very different. Like, where I would normally describe her as probably like a cute cartoon character, here she looks much more sort of She doesn't look cute in the way a cartoon character looks cute. She looks kind of aloof would be a good term, I think. She looks a little aloof, kind of merchant nobility kind of look to her with the dress. And her hair is like super long. Depending on her depiction, sometimes her hair is really long, sometimes her hair is relatively short, like it comes down to maybe like here. But this depiction, her hair is like really long and it splays out everywhere. This is what I mean when I say like in the Red Veil, everyone looks a little different. I feel like the Red Veil is designed artistically to kind of like take these characters that live in very different styles of art and like bring them all into this place where they're very three-dimensional, much more realistic looking characters. And somehow Lady Wasabi does this consistently with everybody. It's really fascinating to watch. I love that she did the glitch, because this is something that's part of Shiver's aesthetic and lore as well as the glitching. Now this guy, I'm gonna have to scroll down for his name. Oh boy, I'm gonna mispronounce this so bad. Occultist Notitia. I think that's correct. Tell me if I'm wrong. Occultist Notitia, I believe. I saw him also, the other video we're going to be reacting to today. He makes an appearance in that one as well. But I don't really know anything about him. I want to believe... Wait, is this pasta? It might be? He's holding spaghetti. Normally pasta's depicted like a spaghetti monster. Okay, this is Kenny the Hound, I believe. Am I right? I am right. Okay, this is Kenny the Hound here. I guess... It looks like he might be British based on the patch here. I don't know a lot about Kenny the Hound, but I guess he's somewhat involved in the Skydex, if I recall correctly. Like maintaining it or something. I might be wrong about that. I am learning the names of so many VTubers that I just did not know existed recently. And this is one of them. Like, there's just a lot of... to be fair, I don't know if they're all VTubers. I think most of these are AI content creators. So they make their own little AI stuff. Skybrows is really big into adding other AI content creators into his videos, as is Lady Wasabi and a lot of the other big names like Feeblemind and Psychro's who I'm thinking of. They also do a lot of this. Eustace the Useful also. He either self-inserts a little bit, but he does it in like a fun, happy, campy way, or he adds some cameos into his videos as well. Eustace is in a lot of folks' videos. Is this anyone? Might be. That might be Music Satire. I know Music Satire has a feminine model like this as well. Yeah, it would have to be, because this is somebody too. And that's definitely not Music Satire. What's Elfx Harper 11? Right, so this guy showed up in the Shiver video as well. So I didn't know who he was. Elfx Harper 11. I guess he has a dog. He's hugging the pupper. Oh, my CCs are not on again, or... This is Lady Wasabi as well. See, this is interesting here because I'm willing to bet this is literally an image of her looking at a picture of Louis and bringing flowers to her grave, which is a really sad thing to think about. I'm only a few weeks away of doing the same thing for a family member myself. Sorry, I had to bring myself back to earth a little bit there. Yeah. So that's what I think this is. It's a picture of Lady Wasabi looking at Louis getting ready to bring flowers to her grave.
It's dark out now, wherever.
I wonder what this is. I remember this moves into something else. This also looks very similar to what Lady Wasabi wears, but maybe it's another character? The face looks wrong. Well, no, because Wasabi would have the mask on. She always has the mask on, so this has to be someone else. Probably just a character.
The stars gone. Oh,
Dark
God,
out now.
hear my prayer, can hear my song.
What does she say? It's so dark now, where have all the stars gone? Hope God can hear my prayer, can hear my song. You know, it's weird to me where my mind goes sometimes when I read these lyrics, because this is such a somber sentence. It's very artistic, talking about how, like, the points of light around you are disappearing. You're more lost in the darkness than you were when you had some light available. But my dumbass brain goes, oh yeah, you can see a lot fewer lights in the city because of the light pollution. And if you go out into the country, you'll see a lot more lights. And that has nothing to do with the song. I love this shot, by the way. This is so pretty. It's like falling down. Almost looks like she's going into like a volcanic underwater zone right here. This one beam of light coming from where she disturbed the water at the surface and sank is such a pretty beam. It says, hope God can hear my prayer, can hear my song. God hears all. God can hear your prayer. God can hear your song. You won't always choose to answer. Sometimes you pray and you're like, God, please help me get, move in this way, move in that way. We have to remember God's not a genie. God's not going to just move because you asked him to. He's not going to do some specific course of action because you asked him to. We pray largely for our own benefit, and we ask that God help us. God chooses how he helps us.
But sometimes it feels...
I know that this line is going to be very serious, but I can't help myself because he gets the crown, and I could tell that there was a legitimate effort to make the crown look like the BK crown he has in his actual depictions. The Burger King crown. This looks... And I mean, no offense to say this. I know Lady Wasabi will probably watch this at some point. I mean, no offense to say this, but this kind of looks a little flatter and more animated, cartoony than anything else in the shot. So that's why I say I think an effort was genuinely made to make the crown look somewhat like a Burger King crown. For those who aren't aware, Feeblemind has a going bit where he wears a Burger King crown. He doesn't always in all of his depictions, but there's several of the AI artists will sometimes depict themselves as like taking his Burger King crown and putting it on their head, and then he'll always end up depicting himself taking it back at some point. So there's that sort of this ongoing bit with that. So this just strikes me funny in the middle of a very sad song. I'm actually kind of glad, brought my heart back up from talking about funerals.
So long, and I wish that I could be strong, but I...
Feels so long, I wish that I could be strong. Man, I feel that. Like, I think strength comes in a lot of forms, and you can be a lot stronger in one way than you ever realized you were. And it's not until, like, you're given an opportunity to compare your strength to the strength of others that you realize it's not normal. But when you're in something, you're not thinking about things like that. You're thinking about, like, I wish I could be strong. In many cases will become, I wish I could be stronger than I am now. I wish I had strength to endure, pursue, create, whatever, better than I'm doing now. And, the example I'll give for that is I always thought that my pain tolerance was relatively low because I fundamentally hate pain. I do not want to be in pain, and I will go to great lengths to avoid being in pain. That being said, I also kind of have a thought process where it's just like, sometimes shit happens. And you just have to deal with the pain you're in. And there's not much you can do about it. You can scream to the universe that you don't want to be in pain. The universe doesn't care. You get a toothache, maybe you didn't take care of your teeth good enough. That's on you. If you get a headache, well, maybe you drank a little too much alcohol. That's on you. There's other reasons. You get a headache, maybe you didn't drink enough water. That's also on you. Whatever the case may be, like, you live with whatever pain it is. It wasn't until I had occasion to do things alongside other people and then just fail and hit dirt hard and just kind of get back up like it wasn't a big issue, and everyone else around me is like, "That, are you good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Doesn't your back hurt? It'll get better." And just realizing that wasn't normal. Like, that was not a normal thing. The people around me didn't do that when they got in pain. They actively, like, they would limp or whatever. I've gotten to a point now, the few times I remember working at an Amazon warehouse, and I came in one day and I was limping and using a cane. And my boss stared at me with like genuinely frightened eyes and was like, should you be here right now? Because apparently I just never show that I'm in pain, ever. So the fact that I was physically limping scared the shit out of him. I didn't know my pain tolerance was larger than normal. I had no fathomable idea about that. I just thought I hated pain. But likewise, a lot of the times you'll have more strength than you think you do, because you're comparing the strength you have to the strength you need to do what you want. And it isn't until you get a chance to see what level of strength you possess comparative to the normal level of strength of people relative to you that you realize that you actually are really strong. You're just not strong enough to do the thing you want. I bring that up because sometimes recontextualizing your position can kind of help break you out of your rut of thinking you're not good enough, getting you to take a breath, breathe in, breathe out, and realize, okay, I'm actually not in a bad position here, but I can't get where I want to go with just this. And that kind of, for me at least, it gives me the opportunity to sort of readjust myself and go from getting frustrated that I can't do what I want to, all right, let's figure out how to get there, because maybe beating my head against the wall isn't going to do it. Also, I believe this is Silas Frostrunner. Oh, I missed whoever this was, Ben1354.
I'm not who
I also liked that Golden Gun. This is Night Owl.
I used to be.
We're back to our Azula
They
character.
could understand.
Captain Keen. No, I just thought about this. Captain Keen and Feebleman both have an eye patch. I wonder if if there was a level of bonding over that. Ooh. This has to be Psychro, right? It has to be Psychro. It is Psychro. Yeah. Because I wasn't sure who this was when I first saw it, and now I'm looking at it here, and I'm like, it has to be Psychro, because relatively more recently, Psychro started making images of his character without the gas mask helmet on, and he's got like blonde hair and a short beard. So that's, but he's still got the red jacket and the belt. Okay, this one, his name is Counterint. I should know that because Counterint is the guy who kind of brought me into Skynet. I haven't seen a lot of his work. I probably should look into his work more. Man, I wish I had more time to do more reacts, but if I give more time to reacts, I will never make an original piece of content for myself. So I've got to keep it minimal. I don't know if we're seeing the last one, DJ Nathaniel, yet. That would be DJ Nathaniel. Yeah, he always talks about God a lot too. This theme of people like breaking apart into pieces and falling apart. I feel like there's sort of a sense of like you lose people as you live life. Sometimes you lose them because you just go different ways and kind of never come back to the same place again. Sometimes you lose them because you lose them, like Lady Wasabi did. Sometimes you lose them because you once were allies in some way and you both walked different paths to the point you became enemies. But things happen throughout life. And, when things are good in life, you should appreciate it because it won't stay that way forever. But when things are bad in life, you have to remember they won't stay that way forever either. They will get better at some point. It might be a long time. You might be in pain and agony for a long time. But it will not be forever. You will be released from it eventually. Never forget that. Ooh, the seals. Right, this. Okay, I think this looks so doofy, honestly. It's adorably cute. It's adorably cute. I don't know why this one has a coat hanger. That doesn't make any sense. He's got a knife, he's got a pan, he's got a pot, he's got a gun. They're all looking at him like, what the hell, man? And I have Skybrows. This is interesting. I didn't notice the seals before. So you have this whole shot of him surrounded by seals, and then this dragon. I'm curious now, actually. Is this emblematic of what happened in the community, this shot? The seals are the members of the community, and the dragon is the ones who came in trying to change things? That would be a really, really cool like background to that, if it is so, because that does absolutely fit, like 100%. That fits. That would be really good. I love this clock tower thing. I've not created any story stuff for one of my major stories yet, but there is a character I have called the Clockwork King, whose whole shtick is he's got a big clock like this behind him, a big with cogs and stuff, and his throne is made of like clockwork cog machines. This makes me think of the fire atronach from Skyrim, but it's on a candle. You got the wax kind of like bubbling away here. And man, like immediately as soon as I want to say it, I feel a well up of emotion. I'm willing to bet this image represents Lady Wasabi and her daughter. Very pretty. I wonder if these flowers are like her daughter's favorite flowers or something. Man, that is interesting. That song was a legitimate emotional roller coaster, and that it had moments that were kind of like, I wouldn't say they're happy moments, but there were moments when it looked more wholesome. You were more inclined to go like, ah. And there was a little bit of hope in the lyrics that it won't be bad forever. But this, I feel like after, because One Sky was such an uplifting song. And we see Rui of the North and then this song, and I definitely feel like we are seeing again the pain that was walked through. Because, you know, even when you kind of move past the worst of it, the pain of losing someone never goes away. Not all the way. So we still have pain left, and she's choosing it to turn it into something beautiful, and I'm glad for it. This is a much better outlet than some of the things I've seen folks do with their pain. Some people can become violent, some people become self-destructive. So I'm glad to see that Lady Wasabi is able to, instead, she's able to still give of herself, create and build out of that pain. It's a better way to be. This must have felt, the way she describes what happened in the community, I can tell that it must have been so much more impactful on her than it was on me. Like I said, I was dealing with a lot of real life issues at the time this was going on, and I wasn't really around much. As a result, I didn't really see most of it. I was there at the very tail end to see the announcement made by Psychro, and that was basically it. I was like, what happened? Who are we talking about? What's going on? Meanwhile, based on the way she describes it here, I'm imagining she was in it the whole time. She was watching people walk away from the community and probably feeling like she might not see them again. That this community is about to tear itself apart, and this home that she found for herself is going to die. And that it didn't. And for her, that must have been, I imagine it must have been a huge relief. And probably meant an awful lot to her that the community didn't break. I haven't been there anywhere near as long. I can't say I have as much of an emotional attachment to it as that. But I would have been pretty upset, if the community had like broken or turned into something else. Myself, when I saw a couple of the people who stepped away, when I saw the names and I saw the announcements, I was like, oh, so that's going to happen to this one too, huh? That was kind of where I sat on it. But I didn't have time to deal with it because I had my own IRL stuff to deal with. But yeah, I would have been upset too. I don't know if I would have talked about it in the same tone though. So I think it was much more like genuinely emotionally important to her than it was to me. And I'm so glad the community didn't break, not just for myself, but for folks like Lady Wasabi, who would probably have been hurt pretty bad by it. The fact that she is able to still be here, still make beauty out of her pain, really means something. But anyway, that will be... I've yapped for over an hour on this one. That will be all, my curious scholars. Until next time. Bye-bye.